In this video, we will highlight the procedure for onboarding new students. This is a process that's completed every year at the end of April or beginning of May. The process will entail 4 steps. In the first step, we will create the user accounts in Active Directory. In step 2, we will create the mailboxes on Exchange on-premise. And then in step 3, we will migrate the mailboxes from Exchange on-premise to Exchange in Office 365. And then lastly, in step 4, we will assign Office 365 Microsoft licenses for those user accounts. So let's get going with the first step. To create the user accounts, we need to go to a domain controller. So I have 80 users and computers displayed right now. I have created an organizational unit called New Students. It should be empty right now. This is where we will create the user accounts. And to do that, we are going to use a bulk utility for creating multiple user accounts at once. The utility is called 80 bulk users. In order for this to work correctly, we have to right-click it and then run it as an administrator. It takes a while for it to launch. Alright, there it is. So we are going to make sure we have the right domain highlighted, which is thehill.org. We are going to select the domain controller we're on, and we are going to select the destination OU for those user accounts. So we'll drill down to the new students OU that I showed you earlier, the empty one. So we'll click OK. And then we'll browse to a file I have copied here onto the temp folder. It's an Excel spreadsheet with 3 new students, and I'll show you before I launch this utility what that file looks like. So I'm going to click OK. And before I click validate, I'm going to show you what that file looks like. So it's just an Excel spreadsheet. I have columns for the student's first name, student's last name, a display name field which combines first name and last name. I have the graduating year under the description field, the job title, in this case is student, the SAM account name, and user principal name displays their first initial, last name, and the 2-digit graduating year. The department field is populated again with their graduating year. The company is the Hill School. We have randomly generated 6-digit passwords, and then in the last field we have the email address for those users. So let's go back to the Active Directory server. So the last thing we did was we clicked on the Open File button and we browsed to that Excel spreadsheet, and now we are going to validate the selection. The validation completed successfully. We'll click OK. By the way, if you launch the 80 bulk users application not in administrator mode, this validation would have failed. We'll click OK, and now the Start button is blue and available for us to use, and I'm going to go ahead and click that now. So it's that quick. The import process completed, 3 records processed, 3 users created. I'm going to click OK, so we don't need 80 bulk users anymore. I can close it. So I'm going to refresh my 80 users and computers. I have the new Students OU highlighted. I should see 3 users, and there they are. Just going to check this one to make sure everything looks right. We have the description, we have the email, we have a logon name, job title, student, department, its graduating year, companies, the Hill School, and there are domain users. So everything looks right. And we'll also assume that the password that we generated for them has been applied correctly. So now we can proceed with step 2, which is to create mailboxes on Exchange on-premise. But before we do that, I just want to verify that they do not have a mailbox on-premise yet. So if I were to search for Isabel Feldman, I'm now in the Exchange Admin Center, and I'm on premise. If I search for Feldman, we do find an Aiden Feldman, but not Isabel Feldman, because she doesn't have a mailbox yet. So to create the mailbox, I have to run a PowerShell script on the active Exchange server. So to determine which server is the active one, again, we go to Exchange Admin Center on-premise. If I go to servers and databases, the active server is listed here as Mail1. So that's the server I'm going to be working in. So I'm on Mail1 right now. I do have a file here in the temp directory. I'm just going to show you what it looks like. So this is the PowerShell script we are going to run. It's going to import the Active Directory module, and then it's going to create mailboxes for students that are for user accounts that exist in this OU that we are going to point the script to, which is the new Students OU, with those 3 user accounts we created in the previous step. And then it's going to create a mailbox in the database called Student. Alright, so to do that, we need to launch the Exchange Management Shell. And again, I'm going to right-click that, and I'm going to run it as administrator. Click yes. Alright, so we're at the prompt. I'm going to copy the script, copy all of it, and I'm going to paste it in here. Now it's going to run. It stopped here. I'm going to press enter and enter again. Okay, so anytime you see fields in red what you have is a failure. This one, okay, I think I know what's happening. It doesn't like the fact that the email address doesn't have an @thehill.org for some reason. So let's go back to the domain controller where we created the user account. I'll look at Eduardo here. So this one does have an @thehill.org, so that can't be the problem. Oh, okay, so here it is. This field right here has to select @thehill.org. I believe you can change them en masse. I know I only have 3 user accounts now, but normally you'd have, over 100 students, and you don't want to do this manually one at a time. What you can do is highlight all of them, right-click it, click on Properties, and I believe there's a way to, I think this is it. Okay, so what you do is you click on the checkbox next to UPN suffix, and now we have @thehill.org populated there. I'm going to click Apply, and OK. I believe that should have changed that one field. There it is. It has @thehill.org right now. Let's pick another student, and she has it as well. So with that taken care of, we'll go back to the Exchange server, and I'm going to paste that command again. I'm going to click Enter twice. And let's see what happens. Oh, that looks a lot better. And I think it's finished. So to verify, I can go to the Exchange Admin Center on premise. I'm going to search for, let's look for Eduardo. And it found Eduardo. Actually, there were 2 kids with the same last name, Slump, probably brother and sister. So I'm going to search by that name. It should find 2 entries, and there they are. And I believe the 3rd student was Isabel. It was Isabel Feldman. There it is. So the mailboxes have been created successfully on premise. So the next step we're going to do, now that we've created the user accounts and we've created the mailboxes on Exchange on premise, is we are now going to migrate the mailboxes from Exchange on premise to Exchange in Office 365. So in order to do that, we need to go to Exchange Admin Center in Office 365. Again, make sure you take caution that you're not trying to do this from Exchange Admin Center on premise. That's not where you want to be. You want to be here in Exchange Admin Center in Office 365. So we are going to go to Recipients, Migration. We're going to click the drop down next to the plus. We're going to create a new migration to Exchange Online. And we're doing a remote move migration, which is supported by Exchange Server 2010 and later. Click Next. Now here you can select users manually one at a time, but with more than 100 people you don't want to do that. You want to use a CSV file. So the CSV file for the migration from Exchange on-prem to Exchange in 365 looks like this. It's really simple. It just has a header titled email address, capital E, capital A, and then the email addresses of the users you want to migrate. So I'm going to click this radio button and I will browse to make sure this is the right file. Open it. Alright, so it did identify in that CSV file that I have 3 mailboxes to migrate. I'm going to click Next. I'm going to choose my migration endpoint as endpoint 2. Next. That we can't change, so we'll click Next. Okay, so we need a migration batch name. We'll call it Migrate 317 students to 365. Just going to bump up these numbers to something ridiculously high. Because we don't want anything causing this migration to fail. I mean, they shouldn't have anything in there because their mailboxes were just created, so they shouldn't have any emails in there, but just out of habit, I like to play it safe. So, and bump these numbers to 500. I will click Next. So when this batch is completed, it's going to send an email to myself. I'm going to select automatically start the batch and automatically complete the batch, and click New. This part always takes a while. I'm going to go ahead and pause this video for now. Alright, so we got past the please wait portion of that process. The migration has now started. I have this message saying migration batch migrate 2017 students to 365 has been created. It's synchronizing. And this is going to take a while, so I am going to pause this video and resume once the migration has completed. Alright, migration is still underway. I'm just going to show you that you can refresh this page this way. And it's still not yet finished. So when this finishes, you'll either see a number on the finalized column signifying that they completed successfully, or you'll see a number in the failed column signifying that they failed. So ideally, once this is done, we want to see our job having the number 3 in the finalized column, showing that all 3 mailboxes were successfully moved. So I'm going to pause the video again as this continues to migrate. Alright, it's been a while now, and my migration of those 3 students' mailboxes from Exchange on-prem to Exchange in Office 365 finally completed. As you can see there under status, it did say completed, finalized 3, failed 0. It did take a while. I mean, I don't know, it was roughly maybe 40 to 45 minutes, thereabouts. I mean, you can go out, get coffee, and drink it, and then still have some, few minutes to wait still. I also want to show you that I did get the email verification about the completion. There's the email, migration batch, migrate 2017 students to 365 completed. It gave me a report by way of a CSV file. Actually, here it is, runtime. It took 41 minutes to complete. So if I want to verify that these mailboxes are now in Office 365, I can do that even from my Exchange Admin Center on-prem. If I search for Slump under mailbox type, it no longer says user, it now says Office 365, and the option to migrate to Office 365 is not available anymore. Just going to pull up a random person just to show you that the mailbox type would say user for somebody who's not in the cloud. Let's pick, let's pull up the Lagores. So, yeah, Sam, Hannah, Joe, and Jen Lagore are on premise, so their mailbox type says user. Their daughter Eleanor is in the cloud, so her mailbox type would say Office 365. So the migration is complete. The last thing I need to do now is assign licenses to those 3 users. So to do that, I have prepared a CSV file. It's a very simple file. It just has a header labeled user principal name, capital U, capital P, capital N, and then the 3 persons' email address. So, where am I going to use that file in? I'm going to need them in here, AD Manager Plus, and there's the web address to get there. Username and passwords are in LastPass. I'm going to log in. There we go. Okay, I'm going to go to AD Management tab, Office 365 Management, and I'm going to assign or remove licenses. And once I get here, there's a drop down here for configure licenses. I'm going to click it. Assign or remove licenses. I'm going to select add licenses. I'm going to select the second option here, standard Office Pack Students. User location, I'm going to pick the United States. And then here under Import CSV, I'm going to click it. And I'm going to point it to my CSV file. 3 students, assign licenses. And once I do that, the field on the bottom pane here changed to indicate the 3 users that I want to assign licenses to. So before I do that, before I click apply, I'm going to verify in Admin Center in Office 365. If I pull up one of those users, I'm just going to pull up Slump. I should see 2. Eduardo and Luisa. Under status, notice it says unlicensed. That's because I haven't applied their licenses yet. And Feldman, this is Isabella. Yeah, Isabella Feldman is unlicensed also. So, I'm going to go back to my AD Manager Plus. Again, it's the second license choice. United States. I've imported my CSV file. 3 students' names are listed. And I'm going to click Apply. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to actually select them. I can just click on this top box and it should select everything underneath it. Apply. And it is off to the races, applying those licenses. Don't remember how long this will take, so I may want to pause this video if it doesn't do anything interesting in the next 10 seconds. Oh, here we go. Isabella Feldman's license is successfully modified. Eduardo Slump, success. And one more. Luisa, success. So all 3 completed. So if I want to verify this, if I go back to here to the Office 365 Admin Center, if I search for Slump, instead of unlicensed, I should see something else. There we go. I'm just going to select Eduardo. Under product license, he does now have the Office 365 Education for Students applied to him. As soon as Eduardo logs in to check his email in the cloud, his mailbox will be fully configured. The same with OneDrive. And so we are done. So we, just to recap, we completed 4 steps in the onboarding of our new students for the next school year. We created the user accounts in Active Directory, and we created their on-premise Exchange mailbox, and then we migrated their mailbox to Office 365 in the cloud, and lastly we assigned their license. I hope you found this video informative, and I thank you for viewing.